Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus arcade video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the beginning of the third stage of Spikeout Digital Battle Online. And as you can see, this is the opera stage. This first area is going to kind of be like going up to the opera. So it's kind of like a hedge maze. Really cool music here. Even some of it having a bit of a vocal track to it. And I don't know if I'd mentioned this last time I had one of these videos on it, but I plan to at some point hook up the Model 3 board and actually basically record all the music digitally and release it so if people want to hear it, they can. But that'll be one of those things I'll probably do much later. Because I know, just like the Model 2 board, I can actually just hook this up to my computer and go to like Audacity or something and just straight record the music. Which is especially something that I really want to do because getting the music to work on this system, as you had seen in my overly complicated how to hook up Spikeout video, yeah, it wasn't exactly the easiest thing in the world, so I figure for people who haven't heard it, or people who just want to hear what the cool music in this game sounds like, I figured I could do that favor for you. But as you can see, all different kinds of guys here. Some of the guys, if I recall correctly, in this stage actually end up shooting something, which, when you're in a beat-em-up game where you don't have, like, guns, or you don't have a projectile weapon, it kind of gets annoying when you're just desperately trying to shoot the people. And, yeah, then someone starts shooting a projectile at you. It makes me think of, I think it was Ninja Gaiden 2, where you're playing as Ryu, and all of a sudden there's this dude with like a rocket launcher who's just like shooting rockets at you. And yeah, you have to make sure you take him out as quickly as possible, so you don't get like totally destroyed by this guy shooting a projectile weapon from a distance. And this is another one of those many places where seeing the little dots on the map really helps actually see where the enemies are, because as I'd mentioned in the last bunch of videos for this game, if you don't like defeat all the enemies, the boss will never come. He's only triggered by all the regular enemies being defeated. But of course, as I had said in my last videos as well, once the boss is defeated, any people who are like came out with him, they'll just run away, since he's the only one you have to defeat when the "here comes the boss" is triggered. Actually, he was one of those gun guys I was just talking about, because there's his gun. And as I'd mentioned in some of the other videos, picking stuff up in this game can be a bit weird, because you have to be like just positioned just right, and then your character will sometimes just randomly pick it up. It's like you have to be exactly facing that handle, and you can't like even be slightly off, or the character won't pick it up. But if you didn't see the last 3 videos, this would be technically part 4. The first video we covered the first stage of the game. The second and third videos we covered the stage 2, part 1 and 2. And of course this video we're covering stage 3, part 1. And I'd made mention of it in the last 2 videos, but the reason that I split the last 2 stages into multiple parts, yeah, there's the gun, is because each of these stages takes over 40 minutes. And honestly, I just didn't want to make like an over 40 minute of me just playing a game video, so I figured I'd just chop it up a bit more. But I figure if you're one of those people who likes to watch like a full play video, this is actually going to be in like one big playlist once all these episodes are uploaded. So, if you want to watch like an over 2-hour gameplay of Spikeout here and hear me blab on for about 2 hours about various stuff, and of course sometimes random stuff like that Ninja Gaiden 2 reference, then I won't stop you, by all means. And the only thing that is inconvenient about that gun is that it takes like a second or two for it to get started, because Basically, your character kind of takes the shooting stance, and then it takes another second or two for the flames to start coming out. Kind of like a real flamethrower would be, because it has to like shoot out the gas and then ignite it, and that's how you get your flamethrower. But as I'd mentioned in my previous videos, this game that you see right now is Spikeout Digital Battle Online, running on the Sega Model 3 Step 2.1 hardware. So, just as I always make mention of in all of my arcade videos, this is a legit game running on legit hardware, no emulation, no net booting or anything. This is the real thing all the way. And this was one of those games that I always say was quite a project, as it took me quite a while to get like the arcade board, the filter board, a working DSB2 with the proper wiring harness. But now that I have it, I know how to hook this game up. I can do it like the back of my hand. So when I do throw this whole thing back together to record the audio, I'll just put it together, connect it to my sound card, and that'll be that. I think it's the later couple stages where you actually get that vocal soundtrack where you hear like an opera lady singing in the background. And it actually is really cool that this digital soundboard 2 is able to do that. Which, I'm guessing the base Model 3 hardware probably wouldn't be able to play like all the character sounds and then have a vocal soundtrack underneath that. And the nice part about this boss battle is, as opposed to some of them where you ended up like really far from the gate, this boss battle actually more or less led you to the little square here where the gate is. So when I defeat the boss, who I believe is that big yellow guy, yeah, he just did the crazy boss move, and of course his life is yellow, which I mentioned it in all the other videos, so I'll mention it here. If the enemy has a green life bar, they're a regular old enemy. Regular guy, you just defeat him, he dies, another one probably comes in his place in a boss battle. But if it's a yellow life bar, that's the boss. Defeating him will make everybody else run away, and then you just break the gate, and this section of the stage is done. And that's one thing you have to definitely be careful of in this game, is bosses who have those crazy throw moves. As opposed to ones that do crazy combos, they'll kind of do one of those creepy grabby motions, and like when they're doing that flashy thing, and then they'll just grab you and like this guy does, just like throw you all around. And basically what I was trying to do there is get rid of the flamethrower guy, because it kind of makes it hard to defeat the boss when there's somebody in the background who is shooting you with a flamethrower. And as you can see here, I've successfully defeated all of the boss's cronies there, so now it's just him. And for some reason, the helmet he's wearing that extends his head a bit is making me think of the diva from The Fifth Element, Pava Laguna. Because if I recall correctly, in The Fifth Element, she had kind of like a big extended alien head. That's what that guy's helmet looked like. And that's one thing you'll notice with a lot of these like sections of stages. Unless it goes into a different area with like different music, the music will just kind of continue from section to section, which is actually kind of cool. It doesn't like miss a beat, if you will. And I'll make mention of this now because it's a similarity I can draw between this setup and Sega Model 1. But this game and, of course, Virtual Fighter both use an external soundboard. The only difference there is, for Virtual Fighter on Sega Model 1, all of the sound effects and the music are generated on that soundboard. Whereas with this game, all of the sound effects are generated on the Model 3 board, and the music is on the DSB2. But similar to the Sega Model 1, an external mixer and everything are needed to properly mix all the sounds, because if I recall correctly, on the Sega Model 1 soundboard, one of the little boards does the music, and the bigger, I mean the little board I believe does all the sound effects, and then the big board I believe does the music. But even though they're kind of sitting on top of each other, you have to mix those two boards, similar to how you have to mix the sound effects coming out of the Model 3 board and the music coming out of the DSP2 with this game. But unfortunately, unlike that, you can't just use one of those little mini sound mixers like the Sega Model 1 used, because unfortunately, whenever I tried to use that, it actually gave me only one channel of combined audio. I tried switching everything around every way I possibly could, but I just got one mono channel of music and sound effects. Sure, it was nice to finally have music and sound effects, and I did play quite a few stages when I had finally done that, but I thought it recorded a bit better that I had the full stereo audio so you could hear both channels. Because I'd imagine, I think the music does it a little bit, but there is a little bit of stereo separation. But as you saw from my how I hooked this thing up video and the story of how I got it all hooked up, I ended up using a special external sound mixer, which is basically made for camcorders, and that actually ended up doing the trick. But I had to do it all weird, where I took each of the music channels and put them on a different channel, and then combined that with the sound effects, and yeah, you get the nice sound that you hear here. Here, that's pretty redundant. Okay, I think this was the last guy, and then the boss came around. And just like the last section, the cool part is the boss battle kind of happens pretty close to the gate, so it's not like you're looking all around to find where the gate is, and now you'll see here, as opposed to some of them, these three guys in the black with the white hair, they are the boss. So you have to defeat all three of these guys. But all the other guys, just like I mentioned in the other section of the stage, they don't matter. They're just going to be there so they can try to beat you up a little bit and get in your way. That's all. But that's the biggest problem with any of these games, where everyone surrounds you and they all kind of punch at once. But of course, with the boss characters, they have that enhanced special attack that none of the enemies really have. The enemies are kind of just like you if you only had punches and kicks and no charges. Whereas the boss will usually have either a super move throw, like the boss from the last section had, or I think these guys do like a combo. And of course, the easiest way to tell that is they'll do that like flashy thing where they're kind of charging up, and then they'll either do the throw where they do that creepy grabby thing, or they'll just start throwing punches and kicks in a combination. And for some reason, when I was looking at these guys, I was thinking, even though it's not black stripes, it's blue stripes, they make me think of the stereotypical prisoners, because they're wearing the striped outfits. But of course, today, that's no longer really a thing, because they wear the orange outfits, which, one of the big thing I hear, that's because if they escape, they'll be easier to find. Maybe they got a discount on orange. And for some reason, we got a little bit of an upskirt there. I have no idea why. And now you'll see this area has a change in audio. And I just jumped over the edge there, and I was thinking to myself, oh, I wonder if the enemies are all going to be down here, because I didn't see any, but then they all kind of came from up in the stairs. And I think these guys, the ones with the, like, tonfa sticks that they're holding, I'm pretty sure they are like perma weapons, so they don't come out of their hands, even if they fall over. But the guys with the big sticks, I believe those sticks come out of their hands. Or actually, no, they don't. I remember there was one enemy in this game where there was like a really big weapon, and it came out of their hands. And now this is the area where I was telling you about, where there's that vocal soundtrack. I don't know if you could hear it for a few seconds there, but as I said, I will try my very best to actually digitize these sounds eventually and release them as like MP3s most likely. Yeah, there's a little bit of that vocalized audio, but the when I was playing this, I remember the one thing it reminded me of was Parasite Eve, because in that game, the enemy slash character Melissa or Eve had a vocal soundtrack in some of the stages, and whenever I hear like a trans music playing like this with the opera vocals over it, I always think of Parasite Eve, which is definitely one of the better Squaresoft games for PlayStation. And of course, that was before Square Enix, so that's why I say Squaresoft. And you'll see as I get later in these stages, there are a lot of more occasions where I actually will get KO'd because really the AI gets a little harder and the bad guys get a little bit more numerous, especially having like these like really bigger guys who can just knock you down without even like thinking. So that's why you'll see me getting KO'd a bit more. Like for instance, in Diesel Town, there were a lot of stages like areas and parts of the stage that you could just easily get through without even like breaking a sweat. I think this is the part where I figured everyone must be down there because I don't see them around here. So then I just figured, yeah, just jump down. And at this point, of course, yeah, the enemies were down on the floor, so it actually did work. And as I'd said in my previous videos, I could imagine this game being very fun if you had an arcade that had multiple Spikeout Digital Battle Online machines networked. Up to 4 could be networked, and you would have a 4-player game. And similar to Sega Naomi and Hikaru, how they would connect with the 2 fiber optic link wires, I believe Spikeout would do that same thing. My only guess is that they'd all have to be like daisy-chained together. Or maybe there's a special network for it. Like a special daughter board or something. I just don't know, because unfortunately, for other Model 3 games, there actually are manuals online, but no matter how much I looked, the only thing I could find was the cover of the Spikeout manual. But the cool part is my board, it doesn't have like the fiber optic link ports on it. I could easily replace the filter board with one that has them if I ever needed to network the board with other boards. But the communication board, which is a little board that sits next to the security board, is actually there. So would just need to get one to 3 more Spikeout boards and then hook them all together. And as I said, that's the same way that Sega Naomi and Sega Hikaru will connect. Like if, for instance, somehow I got another Hikaru board with another Planet Harrier's ROM board, I could network the 2 Hikaru boards together with the fiber optic links, and then you'd be able to play 2 players cooperative in that game. Or, of course, if I got another Sega Naomi 2, and, of course, the whole filter and GD-ROM board setup, I could network the 2 Naomi 2s with the fiber optic cables, and that would allow me to play some Versus Play in Initial D. And if you see the boss here, he has perma weapons too. Those blade things that he has in his arms cannot be dropped, no matter how many times you knock him down. So it's kind of annoying when he really like starts going nuts with them. And I definitely like that vocal soundtrack. It like stuck out so much to me when I was playing this. I was like, wow, this just sounds really good. And it's one of those many times when you're playing the game and you're thinking to yourself, wow, this game would have been great on a console. Especially, like, let's say even if it was a watered-down Dreamcast version, because unfortunately the Model 2 in many ways is a bit more powerful than the Dreamcast or the Naomi. But even if it was like a watered-down Dreamcast version and it had broadband network support, where you could either network your Naomis together, or, network your Dreamcast together, or broadband adapter into the internet, that would have been really cool to have multiplayer online. And just like the name of this would suggest, you'd be able to actually play online multiplayer. And just like in the last stage, I had whittled it down to just the boss, and all his henchmen are dead. And of course he's just about dead. Well, that's the first part of Spikeout Digital Battle Online Stage 3. And of course, I would welcome you to join me in my next video, where I take a look at the final part of this game, and of course the final part of this stage. Until then, I'll see you later. Bye.